February 14th. Best day of the year to be a couple. And why not? They get presents, chocolates, extravagant dinners, and of course, obligatory holiday sex. Plus, I hear something about an inherent greatness of being with someone you love or some shit like that. Alright, I know these annual Valentine's rants of mine are supposed to be just that, rants. But they don't seem very active, do they? So, I figure I'm gonna do what I do best. Since this holiday's all about the heart, we should go back to my kitchen and cook a couple of things that are fucking bad for the heart. My vast experience being lonely and bitter have taught me that it doesn't take patience or a good attitude to get you through times like this. It takes food and booze. Lots of booze. Starting with my version of Bacon Explosion, we're going to need a pack of bacon. Lay out the strips and start weaving it together into a mat like you might have done with construction paper in kindergarten. When you've made a full mat or run out of bacon, roll the whole thing up into parchment paper and set it aside. For the filling, we're going to combine some ground beef, some raw spicy Italian sausage, taking off the case of course, diced red onions, a spiced mix of cumin, coriander, cayenne pepper, kosher salt, and black pepper, a couple of eggs, and some oil roasted garlic. I didn't mention how to make oil roasted garlic. Right then, take 1 part garlic to 2 parts vegetable oil very slowly to a simmer. That's about it. Let it simmer for about 45 minutes or until the garlic becomes translucent and begins to brown. Meanwhile, back at the meat mix in some panko breadcrumbs. Regular breadcrumbs will do if you can't find panko. Then mix it all thoroughly, making sure to really get all the fat emulsified into the rest of the mix. Then grab the bacon lettuce and unroll it, keeping the parchment underneath it. Lay the meat mix out on one end, shaping a log about 3 to 4 inches wide. Then roll the whole thing up. Put the whole meat log into a preheated oven at 500 degrees Fahrenheit for about 5 to 10 minutes to sear the bacon, then turn it down to 450. While that's roasting, we're going to make some pineapple relish to top it. Start with some cider vinegar, some white sugar, and bring it to a simmer. Once that's simmering, add some diced white onions and let that simmer for a couple of minutes before adding diced pineapples and all the accompanying juice from the can. Yeah, use the canned stuff, it's actually not that bad. Simmer the whole thing, making sure to stir frequently. Let it reduce until the liquid is nice and syrupy. When the meat log is baked, take it out of the oven and slice a couple chunks off. Put it on a plate and spoon on some of the relish, making sure to get some of the syrup as well. Throw a little bit of green onion on top for fanciness, and there you go. Bacon explosion a la pond. For dessert, we're going to need some sliced bananas, about 1/4 inch thick. Mix those in a bowl with some brown sugar and some melted butter. Lay it all out into a baking sheet with some parchment and bake it at 450 Fahrenheit. Once the bananas have caramelized, take them out of the oven and set them aside to cool. While that's happening, cut off 1-inch cube of puff pastry and roll it into a square. Yes, I'm using store-bought pastry. If you want to spend a day and a half making your own puff pastry, fine. Fuck you, I have no intention of working that hard. Scoop a heaping tablespoon of caramelized bananas onto 1/2 of the pastry, making a little triangle. Put a bit of cream cheese on top and fold over the pastry just to make sure everything fits. Spread a little bit of egg wash along the edges and press them down with a fork to make the seal. Spread a little of the egg wash on top and cut a couple of steam vents into it. Put the turnover onto a parchment-lined pan and throw that in the oven at 450 again. In about 10 minutes, or when the pastry has puffed and gone golden brown, take it out of the oven. That's pretty much it. Enjoy.